does start with the person, setting goals and seeing an opportunity and so on, right? So for me, how I started in IT, I would say it was pretty much in IT security right off the bat, because I had just graduated from the master's program with a specialization in technology risk management, and started working for a big four firm right out the gate. And the IT security was a very sort of a niche, and it's kind of a segment of the technology services market. And you had a lot of the people who were in that space were with former military, DoD, NSA background. Not so many people came directly from the graduate school or commercial sector. And very quickly, you probably remember some names from those days, like companies like Netegrity was the first in a single sign-on authentication space. Others at the time, CA had some other interesting technologies, which Netegrity actually later was acquired by CA. So I got more opportunities to kind of go deeper into the what would become later identity access management. At the time, it was authentication, SSO, LDAP directories, and I continued to focus on that. And as part of EY, where I was part of their cybersecurity practice, I worked on a lot of projects with major, enterprise organizations, Fortune hundreds, to deploy the identity and access management products, which were becoming a little bit broader than just authentication. Soon we started seeing the access provisioning and privileged access products starting to enter the market. And that took me to about 2009. And that's when I really saw kind of that, had this entrepreneurial itch. I didn't even know what it was all at the time, but I felt like there was a bigger opportunity that I wanted to address, and just as an entrepreneur rather than just being part of a big company and serving clients, but being part of a bigger brand name and a team. I felt like the opportunities to really kind of address the need in the market differently, with much more focus and expert kind of approach, which would also mean alignment, very close alignment with the technology and products that are in the market, which, if you know the big four model, the big consulting model, they always present an agnostic view. They want to always be a trusted advisor and not present any kind of a biased view of any product, which is great. I mean, that's very much appreciated by clients. But there's also a point, and from the customer standpoint, where they want a partner to help them define very technical and specific requirements, find a product that will meet the requirements, and help them deploy it and move to production, and maybe even operate, in the support mode afterwards. I started a company called Advanced Technology Solutions, focusing on specifically identity and access management solutions, design and implementation services. And some of the great names you see in the market today were still early stage startups, the likes of Ping Identity and Avexa, which RSA acquired, SailPoint, big player in the space. Even like PAM vendors that today are the top, the big three, as they call them: CyberArk, Delinea, Trust. We're new in the market, and their market traction was just starting to accelerate. And we were already starting to see a bigger opportunity to move into a product business. Optive acquisition kind of gave us a sort of a great sort of exit ramp into the next objective, which became Brightive. Brightive is all about cloud native identity and access management. Privileged access is kind of our primary lens on access, but it's also about a broader identity landscape. Back then, when we were implementing SailPoint, Ping Identity, and so on, these products were primarily designed and deployed for human identities. We saw that change very quickly, and today, as you I'm sure know, there's a lot more of other type of identities, like machine workload. NHI generally is how the industry is referring to them. And there's yet a special new type of identities, agentic identities and AI identities, right? And there are products that have been there for years. They do the job for the data center, but our main focus was the future technologies and the new needs and new identity kind of problems that we could solve, that we wanted to solve. So that got us really kind of excited. And there's not been a dull day since we started Brighton. I think there's a couple interesting questions you're bringing up, right? So I think one that earlier you're alluding to the economic cycles and how consulting businesses adapt and survive these cycles. I think that I experienced. I actually experienced even the one in the early 2000s, the post dot-com cycle when I started in the industry. And I think that's also a good example to highlight here. Yes, a lot of the consulting industry was shrinking at the time, but what was emerging is for today, it's become cybersecurity consulting. Again, the story repeated in around the 2008, 2009 recession, I think also because cybersecurity consulting and cybersecurity services in general have proven to be somewhat recession resilient. And I'll explain why. And true also for this most recent, recessionary cycle. I think, cybersecurity has got this interesting aspect that's different from other IT consulting or, application, development services or those type of services. Here's the big difference. Security is needed whether the businesses are growing fast or shrinking fast.